I'm Jonathan Long, and welcome to Farmers Weekly's Bluetongue vaccination video. I've been joined by Jules Dare from West Point Vet Group to talk about what bluetongue is, the threat it poses, and why we should be so worried about it, and why vaccination is essential. So Jules, what is bluetongue?
Bluetongue is a viral disease which is spread by midges. It affects all ruminant species, i.e. in the UK, cattle, sheep, deer, but also camelids, i.e. alpacas and llamas, and goats. What effectively happens is a clean midge, if you like, comes in, bites an infected animal, and in that bite takes in a blood meal. That blood meal will contain the virus. The midge will then fly away, and 2 or 3 days later, when it's time to feed again, it will bite a clean animal and transfer the virus back into that animal, causing the clinical signs.
So how deadly is bluetongue?
For sheep, bluetongue is very, very deadly indeed. For example, in Belgium last year, in their second bluetongue year, between 11 and 12% of the national flock died of bluetongue. So it can cause horrible, very severe signs in sheep. Cattle tend to show a lot more variable signs. Some of them do die, but some of them you also can see just subclinical or not noticeable signs at all.
So it's largely sheep that are going to be affected this summer, but cattle are also at danger?
Yeah, what we find is cattle are more infected. There are more cattle infected, but less deadly. But the sheep that do get it, they do die really quite quickly in some cases.
So this really is a disease no one can afford to ignore?
Exactly. In our second bluetongue year, which we're coming into here in 2008, we cannot afford to not to vaccinate. It will be crucial to get the vaccine into the animals as quickly as we're allowed to try and avoid the losses which we could potentially be suffering this year.
So what can we expect to see as clinical signs?
The clinical signs, what we can see is you get a horrible nasal discharge coming from the nose. You get crusts forming around the nostrils and the nares. If you look in the mouth, you can see ulcerations of the hard palate and the tongue, with a lot of drooling. You'll also see some signs of conjunctivitis or runny eyes. You may see lameness and swollen limbs in either 1, 2 or all 4 limbs. And if you look at the udder, you might find swollen teeth with very bad bruising on the outside of the teeth skin.
And what can we do to lessen the symptoms?
Really, it's down to treating as soon as possible with long-acting non-steroidals or long-acting antibiotics, as well as nursing care. They're going to be lame, so they need to be on soft bedding. They're going to need lots of fresh water, and also to keep them, if possible, out of the sunlight and away from the damage that can cause.
Now, you were saying earlier that sheep are going to be largely affected by this. For many sheep farmers, that's largely impractical in this country with large flocks we have. What's the best option for them?
The best option for them is to form a hospital group in a shaded area if possible. They are going to need soft bedding because sheep do get very, very lame and get reluctant to stand. They get very swollen heads with a disease, which makes them reluctant to eat, but also can cause breathing difficulties. Whatever setup you use, you must make sure that the stress the animal suffers is minimalised. The lower the stress levels, the more chance they have of overcoming.
Right. And obviously prevention is largely down to vaccination. Any other prevention we can use?
Yeah, there is a licensed boron preparation in cattle which has data to say that it does work against midge control. So for cattle, that should be applied pretty much from now onwards throughout the midge season this spring and summer. With sheep, the only licensed product with data to say that it's effective against midges are OP dips.
Right. Very good. Thank you, Jules.